So Hillary Clinton came out against the Keystone XL Pipeline this week. Here she is tweeting her opposition to it. "We shouldn't be building a pipeline dedicated to moving North America's dirtiest fuel through our communities," she said. Well, of course, the oil sands are dirty when they're in the sand, but they take the sand out. What's left is just oil. Oil isn't dirty. Dirt is dirty. What she surely meant was that the oil is carbon intensive, as in it takes more energy to produce oil sands oil than, say, the stuff that comes out so easily from Saudi Arabia. That's true. Oil sands oil takes about 10% more energy to produce than Saudi oil on a well-to-wheels basis. But oil sands oil is not dirty, burns the same in your gas tank. But if the energy needed to produce oil makes oil dirty, then the dirtiest oil in North America is from California. It's called California Heavy. It's so viscous, it has a higher carbon footprint than the oil sands. It's truly like tar. If you've ever heard the phrase, the La Brea tar pits in Los Angeles, La Brea is actually Spanish for the word tar. It's like asphalt. Anyways, also very heavy is oil from Venezuela, the OPEC regime that currently sells about 800,000 barrels of oil a day to the United States. Venezuela is a hostile country to the United States. It's barely a democracy. It's authoritarian. It bullies democracy activists in its own country. But put that aside, Venezuelan oil is amongst the most carbon intensive in the world to produce. And the Keystone XL Pipeline would displace that Venezuelan oil pretty much barrel for barrel with Canadian ethical oil. So Keystone XL would not only replace foreign conflict oil from an OPEC regime with North American ethical oil from peaceful democracies, but it would be, quote, cleaner too. But look, do you really think Hillary Clinton is worried about how oil is produced? If so, she's never said so before. I mean, most American politicians don't even like to talk about it because so much U.S. oil is imported from regimes like Saudi Arabia and Venezuela. You'll notice that Barack Obama himself hasn't really repeated this empty promise that he made when he was running for president. Take a look.
I think that in 10 years, we can reduce our dependence so that we no longer have to import oil from the Middle East or Venezuela.
Yeah, best not to talk about that again. When Hillary Clinton was the Secretary of State, her department repeatedly studied the Keystone XL pipeline proposal and the oil sands oil that would flow through it. And her department repeatedly concluded that it would have no significant environmental impact on the world. It just wouldn't. The only impact would be creating tens of thousands of American construction jobs. So if oil sands oil isn't dirty, and if its carbon footprint is the same or lower than California heavy oil or Venezuelan heavy oil, and if Hillary Clinton's own department, when she was the Secretary of State, repeatedly approved Keystone XL, well, what's going on? Well, with the Clintons, it's always wise to follow the money, isn't it? Her Clinton Family Foundation, run with Bill Clinton, her foundations have taken millions of dollars from OPEC regimes, including Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Oman, the United Arab Emirates, as in their governments, not even from private individuals in those countries. They cashed checks from those foreign regimes, OPEC dictatorships. The Clintons did. Do you think that would have anything to do with Hillary Clinton favoring OPEC conflict oil imports over Canadian ethical oil coming in on the Keystone XL? Maybe we should have cut her a few $1 million in checks too. Now that could be, but I think Clinton is actually in desperation mode right now. I don't know if you've been following it closely, but her campaign is running against a kooky old socialist from Vermont named Bernie Sanders. They're running against each other for the Democratic nomination. Sanders is a caricature of a 1960s hippie. He even looks the part. And he's campaigning to the left of Clinton, to the left even of Obama, even to the left of the Democratic Party, and he's getting massive crowds of Democrats wherever he goes. At first, Hillary Clinton no doubt found him amusing, but now Sanders actually leads her in various opinion polls. And now here comes Joe Biden, Obama's vice president, dipping his toe into the presidential run too. He hasn't committed yet, but if he does, he'll squeeze Clinton from the other side, from establishment Democrats. And of course, he'll have the imprimatur of the Obama White House. Clinton will be getting it from both sides. The left-wing nuts will go with Sanders, and the establishment, the well-oiled, well-funded party bosses, a lot of them will go to Biden. So by attacking the Keystone XL pipeline, I don't think Hillary Clinton is necessarily going to win any new votes. But if she were to stay silent on the subject, as she has in the past, let alone endorse Keystone XL, she would lose votes, and she would lose fundraising money from hard left environmentalists and activists. It's not even OPEC money that's making Hillary Clinton oppose Keystone. It's shoring up support on the ground that's evaporating every day for her in places like New Hampshire and Iowa. But look, either way, it's always about her, always about the Clintons, never about putting American interests first. Hillary Clinton would rather America continue to import conflict oil and for tens of thousands of U.S. construction workers to remain idle. For TheRebel.Media, I'm Ezra Levant.